Welcome to another episode of Looks Rare Podcast. We got a great crew today. I apologize, I'm a little hungover today, so I did not have time to get around to my intros like usual. But we do have a very special guest. He's the Titan of Tezos himself, the Object OG, Lonliboy. Welcome, Lonliboy.
It's amazing to be here.
It's awesome. Awesome to have you. And as usual, we're joined by the English engineer, Pep, by the Eden Horde, Maxi, Zink, and by, don't call him X-Copy, no one from Spain, I think. Are you in London now? No one.
Hola, hola. Yeah, I am back in London, finally.
You're back in London. Nice.
Yeah.
So we have quite the international crew here today. We got 2 from the States and 3 in Europe, right? Oh, no, other way around. 3 in the States, 2 in Europe.
Canada. I guess that's the States.
I'm in Hawaii. Yeah, it's close enough. But I think I wanted to start with, we can get into news and all that a little bit later, but I wanted to kind of hear a little bit from Lonli. For those of you who don't know who he is, I met him through you guys, through our artist chat, and he's been involved with Tezos NFTs, I think, since the very beginning. And if I ever have any questions about Tezos NFTs, I always go to him as like my number one resource. And so I'd love to kind of pick your brain a little bit and hear. I'd love to hear first, if you wouldn't mind telling us how you got involved with NFTs in the first place and why Tezos specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I got involved with NFTs after, honestly, I lost $30,000 on Dogecoin.
Wow. So when was that?
Oh, we're getting rugged.
I think we're getting rugged on his Airbnb router. Crud. Well, we'll try to get our technical difficulties fixed here.
It was a good start, though. I lost it all in Dogecoin.
I know. 30,000 on Dogecoin. So yeah, Lonli, we can't hear you. So I don't know. Maybe
let me try
to get closer to your router, or maybe even reboot your computer. There, he's just came off. Well, in the meantime, why don't we talk about the oddities reveal just happened a few hours ago. For people who don't know, that's the Moonbird sort of companion NFT, and everyone with one Moonbird got a free oddity mint. And they've been unrevealed longer than I think any project ever, right? Like 2 months or some crazy amount of time they've been unrevealed, and kind of trading back and forth between, I'd say, like 2.5 to 3.5 ETH around that mark. And then they revealed today, and based on the market's reaction, fairly unspectacular. And the art was all done by Gremplin. I certainly like Gremplin, but the art is a little bit, I guess oddities is a good name for it, is all I can say. It's a little weird looking, and it almost kind of looks to me like the pixels just kind of don't all fit together. Just you can't even really identify what a lot of the stuff is. So I think there's safe to say there's a fair amount of FUD with this reveal. Maybe not the best reveal. And then I think people in the Discord are kind of a little annoyed, and maybe even talking about utility and all that. And I'm not sure there was any promised utility for these. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on it, Zink.
I don't know too much, but like you said, it's free with a gift, right? I sometimes, it's still trading, isn't it? Like still around 1 ETH, maybe a little bit less. Like, it's not a bad gift. I guess if you could have sold it,
the floor.
What, did it fall down even further?
The floor is at 1.84, which really isn't that bad, but
I guess if you bought them before the reveal, like you bought the little egg things, whatever those things were, maybe you're probably not too happy about it, but I don't know. It's hard to get like too upset, right? That's like $3,000. More than that, $3,500.
It wasn't an egg, Zing. It's a pellet. Come on. The pellet.
I don't know. It just looked like a beehive to me, honestly. I didn't really quite understand.
I don't know.
I assumed it was an egg.
They're kind of growing on me a little bit.
Like,
They're
bad
a
as
little bit like cryptodes, honestly. Like when I
It's not like what they put fishing rods in there. Right, so like it's just a little thing. I don't know. It's hard to get upset about it, right? Because it's like it didn't seem like it was overly promoted and it was given away for free. Like you just couldn't buy them, right? You just got them, right? Like they didn't have a mint.
It was so long ago, I can't remember now.
Yeah, I can't remember actually.
Did they do the 10,000, or was it? How many are there? Go back to the homepage. If there's 10,000, and they gave them all
having an opportunity. Yeah, I don't remember having an opportunity to buy them, but I wasn't paying attention probably. I can see being too bought.
So yeah, they're all free.
I can understand being underwhelmed because they are kind of strange looking, but like they're kind of like a knick-knack almost, right? And then like I don't know what people were expecting. I think it's just in general. Yeah, just in general, this whole concept of like I want free stuff forever is like it's a poor. It's once you start putting that expectation in people's minds, I think it takes all the focus away from actually building things and puts it towards, okay, how do I placate the masses to keep floors up? I think it kind of ruins it's unsustainable, and then it kind of also ruins kind of what you're trying to build. Like other than apes, I don't know if anyone's really pulled it off that well. Like look at those beans. Are they doing anything? Suzuki beans and the Cool Cat pets. The stuff really seems to.
Cool Cat pets were such a disaster.
0.25 or something. 0.25.
I sold mine for 2.
Yeah, they were up there for a while. I got mine hatched, but the whole point is like it. Yeah, what is that?
No one. You sold your 2 beans for like 5 ETH each, didn't you? I remember that.
That's a major dub.
I did indeed. 6.5.
That's a Chad move right there.
Yeah, like you pretty much have to sell the pre-reveals and almost everything. Only one that ever pulled out was mutants and to some extent Meebits. And even Meebits, I don't know. Are they? I don't even think when they got released, what was the price of ETH? Meebits might still be below mint in US dollar terms.
It was just over a year ago, so I think ETH wasn't crazy. My guess is that they're worth more now than they were, but you're right. I don't exactly remember what the price of ETH was.
I forgot maybe 2,000 Meebits as well.
I mean, I cannot complain about Meebits.
No, you cannot, Mr. Skelly.
The Skelly.
Oh, that's right. Christ. No, so when they were minted, ETH was 3,400.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're right. It was a lot then.
Right. So, and they were 2.5 pretty much is what the mint was. And the floor is 4.8.
So it's less now. Yeah, quite a bit less. That's interesting. Now that you say that, I remember buying one. I minted 3 and I bought one, and the one I paid for, it was a floor one, but it was like $8,000 or something.
Yeah, the floor is 7,300 right now. Yeah, so that's pretty much. I think then only 8 mutants are above really ever delivered any profit long term.
But that doesn't count people along the way, like no one who made a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah.
A lot of these things, right?
That's why you got to sell them early. I think long holding these things is just a disaster in general.
So Lonli is back. Can you let's see if you're rug now. Can you hear us talking? Can you talk okay?
Yeah. Is my mic working? The Wi-Fi?
Yeah, that sounds better. So go ahead. Let's hear. All we heard was you lost $30,000 on Dogecoin, and that was when you got into NFTs. So how did that lead you to NFTs?
Yeah, lost $30,000 on Dogecoin, and then kind of was just trying to get into more like communities on Twitter and things like that, because I wasn't really using Twitter too much at that time. But I started seeing a lot more people talking about NFTs and things like that. So I went on Rarible and went on OpenSea, bought like Bitbirds, bought Gumbos by Newman in the UK. And then eventually I kind of started I ended up seeing John Carroll talking about like clean NFTs, which I was kind of interested in because I've been following John Carroll since like 2014, 2015 on Twitter and such. So I just really liked the windows initially. And it was on Nunk. And that was the first Tezos platform ever for NFTs. And I think I jumped in like March 21st, 2021. And that was during like object for object. So the first few things I ever did was just collect some, pieces that artists are putting out for each other, basically, to, get each other's art into each other's collections and stuff like that. And then I bought a few windows. And then I remember talking with Deb because he was pretty interested in windows after seeing them. And I had been following Deb for a minute from crypto Twitter in general. So that's kind of how I got started initially with the Tezos NFTs.
Yeah, so I remember when I first heard about Windows, it was not too long after that. No one actually pulled me into this group, and pretty much right away, at that time, everyone was just talking about Hic at Nunk and minting NFTs on Tezos, and I was like, "What the hell is?" I hadn't heard of any of it, so I figured out how to get a Temple wallet and got some Tezos on Kraken, I think, and sent it to my wallet and went on there. And I'm like, "Well, what do I do now?" And they're like, "Every time one of these windows come out, you just mint one." They're like, how much were they at the time? Like 25 Tezos, maybe something like that.
They went from like Tez, and they were just sitting. Like no one was buying them at the time, but there was like a few gone on each one, and they went from 5 Tez, and then in a span of like a week, I think they went to like 25 and started instantly selling out.
Yeah, so that's right when I joined, because I minted the first few pretty easily. Like you had to be on there within a few minutes, but you could get one. It's probably most of you guys I was competing with.
Yeah, but if you remember Lonli, at the beginning, I remember staring at the windows. They were at 5, 10 Tezos, something like that. And there were a few of them which were at 15, 20, and I passed on them because it was too much. Yeah? Because no one was buying.
I thought the same thing, honestly. Back then, spending 20 Tezos on an NFT seemed like a lot of money in general. So when I first saw the windows, window 1 was like 15 Tezos. Wow, that one ended up selling for like what? I think at one point it sold for like 20,000 Tezos or something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, I can't remember how much, but I remember thinking about buying it because there was a time when it was 1,000 Tezos, which was maybe $3,000, and I was about to buy it, and I didn't. But I bought some cheaper ones.
That was definitely during I remember that era when on Hic Nunk everyone started going to the Genesis pieces from each artist, and I remember floors just going like up 10x in like the span of a day, honestly.
Yeah, it was nuts. I remember talking to you at one point, Lonli. I don't remember what. Maybe it was unrelated. We were chatting, and you were like, "Dude, do you have any of these Kevin Aboshes?" And I'm like, "No, who's that?" He's like, "Oh, he's a pretty big deal." And I looked him up. I'm like, those are kind of cool. And he's like, "He's putting one out tomorrow." It's like, just buy it. Trust me. It was kind of expensive. I think it was like 800 like 800 Tezos. And so I bought 2. And then like 2 days later, I think I sold it for like 4 times that or something. But I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just doing what you told me.
I was pretty excited to see Kevin on there. He's had a very, very cool trajectory and just progression with his art in general. I mean, he at one point, I think, sold an art piece that was a photograph of a potato, I think, for $1 million. So seeing that kind of world of art end up on Tezos in general was just like baffling to me. Yep, that's it right there.
But back then, at the beginning, it was just fun because you had to scroll through the main page from Hic Nunk to be able to find the stuff, right?
Yeah, there was no artist names. So you literally had to either know the artist art and then like Google reverse search, and then you had to DM the artist to verify almost for every single release. And then the live feed was just like constant stream of newly minted pieces, but that was all you could see. There was no search button or anything, so it was so hard to keep track of like anything you were doing on it.
I remember like you were testing all the artists like Alex Pardé, Jeff Soto, this, that, because at the beginning you never knew, is it real, is it not? And Lonli was the one investigating always. He had a thing. He was able to confirm or deny whether it was true, like within minutes. It was incredible.
That was like man, I remember just staying up for like 12 hours at a time, just DMing so many artists if it was really them. And then, a lot of artists were like, no, that's a compliment. Also, like, what the hell is Hikek
Like, so for those who don't maybe understand what we're talking about, I'll just describe it a little better. So, because I came in a little bit later, but just kind of right at the perfect time because you guys are all into it and you just post all these links and I would click on the link and, that's the only way I could really find any of these things. Because otherwise, you just went to Hikek Nunk and it just scrolled. It just gave you NFTs and you would just scroll down and you'd scroll down. It wouldn't load half the time. Your wallet wouldn't connect half the time. And you just had to luck out and see something that was good. Like you couldn't search. You couldn't even like favorite artists. You couldn't do anything. So it was kind of cool in a way, but super frustrating too.
That's the I think pack logo era too. That's like real early Hikek right there.
Yeah, it's funny. You guys came in with like the art side. I don't even know if we were hanging out much at all at that point when this all came out. It's like I got all my links from like I remember Alexis Andre and then Gerard Fernandez, Brant Ferrandis. A couple of generative artists started putting stuff up on there like really early. Like I think there was like I can't remember what was the big cut. There was like this is before. I remember there was like a cut like there's some celebration for having like 1,000 projects up or something like that. Like they were in like the first 1,000 mints or something ridiculous. And I remember seeing like it was you're right. It was such a strange site. Just complete underground. Like you really just had to know, like you had to be in the inn. There's no way you could have just, figured it out yourself.
It was wild though, because even from the very beginning, like Mario Klingman and Joanny Lemercier and like even Sororio, were minting from like day one on Hikek Nunk. And it was just such a like art centered community. And now we have Object, which is just such an evolution from Hikek Nunk, honestly, at this point. So many revamps and such.
I think part of it was so like, we had art blocks for generative art, and then there were a few other kind of experiments, but you either had to like mint the stuff yourself and then mint each token and put them up, or mint one of ones. But you had to like literally put the JPEG up on, if you're doing it on in Ethereum, right? It was just, if you didn't have like the art blocks technology for getting the code onto the chain and stuff like that, it was really hard to do generative art on the Ethereum blockchain. But with the Hikek Nunk platform, you could upload a zip file, right, that had the processing in it. And so then that's why, you were able to experiment and do all these sorts of things that I think you weren't even able to, like, which I thought was much more interesting.
I do remember like ERT Andreas was putting out SVG works really early on Hikek Nunk. And I remember everyone was like, wow, this is wild that this could be stored on IPFS like today, right now, which I thought was let me find the full name, because it's a lot of letters, but it's ERT. Yeah, so it's ERTDFGCVB.
But it was always, I think, I don't know what the technological difficulty. I think just the front ends just didn't have a good way of displaying anything really interactive. And so, like, this is even before like OpenSea could even display art blocks projects through like iframes and stuff, like in the thumbnails, right? So like, I think the front ends for on the ETH side of it, NFTs are just really limited, and then this Hickory platform was just all self-contained, where it was the marketplace and the minting site, right? So
that's 100% on point.
Yeah, knew how to pull the processing, or knew how to pull like whatever's in the zip file, right, to display it for you, and then so then if you're a generative artist, you have an easy way of getting your art into people's hands without having them have to do anything. And so you see that huge experimentation, right?
I remember OpenSea didn't have implementation for GLBs yet, and those kind of interactive 3D works. And Hickory was one of the very first places, I think, in general for NFTs that artists could have experimented with that and put out the works that they were making in general inside of their careers, which I always found very interesting. Like the GLB culture was heavy very early on.
Yeah, like I think. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say what I remember is the amount of hours I spent waiting for Xcopy to drop an NFT. So, knowing Xcopy, I was sure that he was going to drop something, and I figured out which one was his wallet before he minted, because he had posted a couple of windows that he had collected from John Carver. So I was monitoring his wallet literally every day. And I remember I just had a siesta. I was so tired, I fell asleep, and he was waking up and he was everywhere. He had already minted, and I was like, no way, man.
That was one of the most relatable things I've ever heard. I also remember staying up to like 5 a.m. every single day because I had the feeling that Xcopy would also drop at some point. And like, it was literally like 2 hours after I fell asleep, he made that tweet. Like, I had a dream that I put something out on TikTok, and then we all woke up, and I was like, no, I cannot believe it.
And he dropped it for like, I think 3 Tezos or something like that.
It was like 3-5 Tezos, something like that. And back then, Tezos was like $2. It was like $10.
Yeah, and it was around the time that his one-to-ones started selling.
What's the last sale for that one?
84,000 Tezos, I think.
And it's edition of
Tezos, like 5 or something.
Yep, 80, one of 3, and a fund that I curate for also owns one of them. We bought it for 22,000.
That's awesome. Has he ever released anything else? Is that it?
I hope he will, but I'm not sure if Xcopy will ever release again on Tezos.
And so he called it Reach Back?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome.
And then there's also, I think there's an ETH variant on Nifty Gateway of Reachback, if I'm not mistaken.
No, and I remember when you were obsessed with that.
Yeah. There is a different edition of the same NFT. The colors are slightly different and so on. And you had to burn some of the NFTs to be able to get. It was the maximum paint drop.
Oh yes, yep, I remember that now.
In NFT, so you had to burn some of the afterburn. I don't remember the exact number to be able to get one.
Interesting.
I wonder what the floor is. What's the floor on those right now for the 34 edition?
There's no. It looks like there's no transactions.
Nothing listed.
Does anyone even have one up?
No. There's a global offer for $5,500 that no one's accepted it. Well, has anyone ever sold one? I don't think so. They've all been bought for $1 and nothing's happened after that.
That's kind of bizarre.
That's bizarre. You never see that. That it's almost like something's weird about that. Yeah, volume in the last 30 days, 0. Secondary market volume, 0. It's funny.
That's pretty absurd.
It was fun back then when you could go gold digging, and I think it was right around then, when you were so obsessed with minting his Tezos that I started combing through the old works that he had done, and you couldn't search on OpenSea and get a complete collection of Xcopy works, and so I would go on Known Origin and then look for Xcopy and then find all of his works and then click through there to try to find it on OpenSea. And it was like an arduous process where you could finally find it, but it wasn't easy. And I found like 2 Dooms for way less than 1 ETH. Yeah. I bought both of them. And,
wow.
It was right around that. I think it was the same day, like, because that's what made me want to go do it. And I'm like, we wasted all this time trying to mint that. I just snagged these 2 guys.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, there is some of these copies which are very difficult to find. So the Digital Objects Network, those 3 which are editions, and then obviously the rare arts that you cannot find anywhere really, are really difficult to find. But if you look at the website, so Xcopy on his website, he has made an effort now to try to index everything there. So if you go onto the website, you will be able to find links to the different collections, most of them.
Yeah, but is it like, is this KO collections? Is it a link to the KO site? I think like this is.
Yeah,
but like they could be listed on Rarible or Looks Rare or OpenSea. Like, this is the crazy thing about having all these marketplaces, that if they don't index properly, then they can the listing can get hidden without anyone knowing it's out there. And I do remember doing that at OpenSea when they didn't. With KO, they had no metadata, basically.
Yeah.
So you had to like basically search by title.
But for example, like the Digital Object Network set has sold already for 200 ETH, and I am pretty sure that 90% of the people would not be able to find it easily on OpenSea.
It's very hard to find a happy consume too, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, Lonli, what was your biggest personal sale for an NFT?
My biggest personal sale, let me think. Tezos was like at $7-ish, and I think I sold a Manaloid for like 3,500 Tezos. That was like a 1 of 20 edition, and then I had a couple up, so it was like 3 days straight where a couple went for like 3,000 Tezos each. So I ended up somehow making like 40 grand, I think, in 3 days, which was pretty interesting because on Tezos, for any collector to make that kind of profit at that time was pretty hard to find. So, but I definitely used that and ended up getting a lot more Tezos, ended up timing a few dips correctly, and that helped me a lot to continue amassing, honestly.
Did you ever sell much for fiat or for stables, or did you mostly just keep it in NFTs and Tezos?
I have mostly everything in NFTs at this point now, which is pretty wild to think about. But I ended up curating for a few funds, and a lot of that kind of stuff, all those payments and those kind of things, I ended up just buying a ton of NFTs with. And I'm still doing that, to be honest. I've been doing this, I think, full time for almost a year now, fully.
Yeah, I was going to say, you are a man of volume, really, right? So how many NFTs do you have at the moment in Tezos?
I think I have 2,500 so far at this point. And I think 27 pages of one-of-ones, which I'm really happy about, because as we know, there still is a heavy edition culture on Tezos in general. So after a while, I really got to a point where I was like, wow, I really want to own something that is fully mine. So that's been like a huge point for me lately, has been getting one-of-ones.
What is your biggest sale, Scully?
My biggest sale?
Uh-huh.
That was my my CryptoPunk, the hoodie, the albino hoodie.
Okay, we can change subject then.
Let's talk about my third biggest sale. That was my best one. Rings Genesis.
Oh wait!
Nice.
Yeah, we don't talk about the hoodie. The funny thing is, the guy who bought it from me was Pablo Puncasso, who at the time wasn't known. At least he wasn't. Yeah, he just wasn't known in the punks community at all, unless he had a different name then. And he DM'd me and I had no idea who the guy was. And he said, I want to buy, I listed it for 150 and he DM'd me and it's like, I'll give you 120. And I was like, I don't know, how about 130? I stupidly like haggled with him, even though I should have just left it at 150. Right. And I sold it to him. And then I was really curious, like, is he going to take it and use it as his avatar? Because it's such a good one for PFP. It's just, albino hoodie. It's all it is, single trait. And I was kind of like, I was just thinking it'd be really weird if he became like this new persona with my old PFP, but he actually told me he wasn't going to. Not that it really mattered, like he could have bought it anyway, but he told me he wasn't going to. And then later, now he's the one with like a wild dark hair and VR goggles. That's his PFP. Yeah. And now he has like, he's a total Chad. He has like a bazillion punks, and I don't know what his story is. I think he actually claimed a bunch. I think he has been around a long time, longer than me, but just it wasn't very active for a while, I think.
Yeah, he has it listed now, I think, no?
He had listed it for a really high amount, like 2,000 ETH or something.
Yeah.
If it ever sells for that, then I'll probably have a heart attack and die. So
that's a massive amount of ETH.
It doesn't exist. It's okay.
Yeah, you can't think of the Kudbins.
That's when I adopted a female as my PFP because that's how I am now. I'm very into modern culture. I'm gender fluid.
And Lonli, at the moment, where are you collecting? Fxhash or object?
Yeah, I picked up a few pieces on objects recently by like Logbook. Mattia Cunny released some new works that I'm really into lately. But yeah, Fxhash has my heart in a chokehold. Like I'm on there all the time, just looking on incoming, looking on new whips inside of the Fxhash Discord to see what's coming, and just monitoring Twitter for new releases and stuff like that. But yeah, Fxhash is definitely where I've been collecting super heavily on. I think so far I've spent like 41,000 Tezos total on Fxhash, which to me that's a lot of Tezos. Like I would have never dreamed to reach that point where I'd even have that much Tezos. So it's kind of wild to think that it's all within just all these amazing pieces on Fxhash. But yeah, I'm still going heavily, still loving it.
Yeah, I minted the other day for the first time in a long time in Tezos.
What'd you get?
The one from Zach and Isa? Yeah, the collaboration. Yeah.
Which variation did you get?
I got the block landscape. It's quite cool actually. It's quite pretty.
You got a Zach?
Yeah, I got a Zach. Yeah.
Oh man, those ones the floor for so that one right there on the left is like one of those.
Yeah,
like number 201. Oh wow, so the floor on those is like they were going for like 5,000 Tez off rip almost.
Yeah. I think that it was Trill tweeted about it. I think he bought like 7 or 8.
I think Trill might have a full curated set of them, and I think the Funny Guys also has a full curated set now of each variation.
Yeah, they are quite cool actually. And this was the one that they were going to drop like 2 weeks ago, right? And then they had problems, so they had to delay it for a week.
Yeah, the problem was if you were reloading through the variations, one of the variations would just be a black screen. So whenever the Fxhash community found that, we like quickly brought it up to Zach and Iskra, and then Zach had to pull out his computer from like storage, which was like a full like actual like PC, and like work out the kinks on it. But he pulled it off really quickly. But by that time, proof of people was happening, and Fxhash wasn't allowing collaborations to come out during that time period, so they had to release it on the 11th. But yeah, I mean the DA went from 1,500 and I think sold out at 600 with roughly 50 or 60 minutes left. So pretty much a majority of them went, I think, at 800 or 1,000.
Yeah, I minted at 900, and I was waiting to mint another 2 at least at 600. But as soon as it touched 600, they just went. So
yeah, the gas to get at 600 was like 70 Tezos or like 80 Tezos or something like that.
But that's a perfect example on how there is still a lot of hot stuff dropping on Tezos. I think that Ethereum people tends to overlook a little bit Tezos, but if you look at the art, you should not overlook Tezos.
There's definitely a bustling community.
I'm curious, do you have to adjust the gas on your Temple wallet to mint that one and actually jack it up, or did you just get it without much trouble?
Well, honestly, I didn't want to risk like getting the gas wrong if it was going below 1,000. So I think I minted one like at 900 or 1,000, whatever the DA was. And I got a color building one, which is the one I literally remember right before I was like, please give me a color building. And I was just looking at the screen, waiting for it to reveal, and it gave me a color building. So I started just screaming outside on the balcony. And yeah, you know, there's always these small wins that just like hype me up all the time. But yeah, on Fxhash, you know, there's a ton of releases that almost seemingly insta sell out, which is just wild. You know, we're in the middle of a bear for a lot of things, and GenArt's is going hard on Tezos right now. Like,
so why was
like
that
one? What was that?
Sorry, Lonli. I was going to say, why was that particular project so hyped?
The Zach Lieberman and Iskra?
Yeah.
Right. So Zach Lieberman actually was supposed to have an AB curated come out during the height of AV before this recent down cycle. And a few weeks before it was supposed to come out, he basically chose not to release it on art blocks. So, you know, and Zach Lieberman has a pretty prolific career, I would say, in you know, color theories, color studies, shape orientation, and in generative art in general. So for Fxhash, you know, like an inclusive platform where anyone could release their code-based artworks, for him to choose Fxhash to be the first place to you know, release a long form collection was pretty wild, and the Fxhash community was pretty into that. And I've seen a lot of, you know, ETH art blocks collectors actually jump over primarily for this as their first pickup on Tezos in general, which is pretty exciting in general. But also, you know, he collaborated with Iskra, who has just been absolutely killing it on Tezos. You know, started day one selling one-of-ones for 50 Tez. You know, some of them sat for a while, you know, and you know, she's just been grinding through this entire time period, and you know, it's got a lot of love in the Tezos community. Ended up having a piece that was based on the uninhabitable algorithm called Prayers at Sotheby's, and that sold above the estimate price. So it was just one of those releases, you know, where a lot of things came together, and there was just a lot of hype involved around it. But also the other thing is we didn't even know what the piece was going to look like until the day that it was announced to be released, like formally the day it was supposed to be minted. So it was just like, you know, a lot of hype, and very masterful, I would say, the process of releasing it. It really kept everyone on their toes.
That's really interesting. So why did he decide not to do it on AB? Was there a reason, like some kind of political reason, or?
So that is something that I don't quite remember per se. I would have to look back, but there is a tweet, I think, about the reasoning why not to release on art blocks at that time period. It could have been just, you know, the stress and the anticipation of, you know, any curated coming out at that time period. There's so much hype and so much just talk about it. I could imagine it would have been a very anxious time period to release anything at that point as a generative artist. You know, you'd want your first piece when things are moving that much in volume to be perfect, right? So that could have been something, and I think that may have been one of the reasons, if I'm remembering the tweet correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, let's say you're an artist and you one argument would be it's such easy money, just take it, right? When like there was a few months where if you released a curated, you would make millions of dollars, right? Stuff would sell out, and then you get royalties. So you'd make a ton of money, but then long term, that puts you in a weird spot, right? And so you've seen what happened. Like for everyone who bought a geometry runner for, I don't know, 10 ETH or whatever,
Rich Lord, right?
They're not super stoked now, and it wasn't the artist's fault. Like they were just making a cool project, and they probably had no intention of selling it for that much in the first place, and then they kind of get blamed for it. And so I can kind of see why you'd want to avoid, as much as it might be kind of hard to turn down easy money. You don't necessarily, for your whole life career, it's not a good move necessarily.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I still remember for geometry runners, the gas war for that was absurd. Like people were pressing like 1 ETH or 2 ETH to really get it like secured. Yeah, and at that time it was like what, $4,000, $3,000 on the gas alone. So
yeah, I remember. The problem wasn't.
I'm sorry, Zink. Did you happen to mint one of those? I didn't.
The problem wasn't that though. The if you if you got one, if you minted one, you pretty much made an instant 2x because the floor went up to 13, 14 within the week. It was just people like me who didn't sell. That was the problem. Holding to the end, you're probably in a lot of pain. That's the craziness, right? If you minted one, there's no one to blame but yourself if you lost money because it sat there at 14 ETH for a week and you could have easily sold.
I still love geometry runners. They look so great.
I agree, right? It's weird, right? Because he's been kind of quiet, right? Like he's still active and doing a lot of work, but you don't hear too much from him.
Rich Lord had helped out.
He helped out with Jen Stark's project, did all the coding for it. Yep. He's still very active in producing work, right? It's just I can totally see that and Octo Runner and Octo Gardens both blew up during the bull run, right? And they're both pulled back on a lot.
He had a tweet recently. He got 100,000 likes on a piece he made, which is a pretty large amount on any piece on Twitter.
I like his stuff. I still like him, but yeah, I think that was the king of hype. I wonder too with art blocks, right? There's if you are a perfectionist or someone who wants to say something very specific with what you're doing in your art, there are a lot of constraints when you mint on art blocks that you don't have on Tezos, right? Because you really have to optimize for code length because everything gets, it gets compiled in a certain way, but everything has to go onto it has to be written to the blockchain, right? So you can't have extremely long code or lots of different potential if branches and stuff like that. So there is a concern maybe if you can't say what you want to say, maybe Artblocks isn't the best place to mint, just because otherwise if the code is too long, then the gas becomes really prohibitive.
Yeah, I think on Fxhash the total it's a 30 megabyte cap right now for uploading, which is a pretty large amount, I would say.
Yeah, because in the art blocks, your code it would just be uploading your code, right? But it would you block size is in the kilobytes, right? So for one mint, I don't know exactly how they store it. If they store it in some particular into the contract itself, or I don't think it goes into every single mint. I think the hash just gets stored into each person's mint, but however it is, it can be prohibitive to upload your contract to the Artblock site.
While we're talking about generative art, let's talk about the Facturas drop, which was the 4th project from GM Studios. And I don't know a whole lot I don't know much about it. I know it's a project. There was I think it's GM DAO or something like that is an artist first kind of organization, and they came up with this generative art platform. And this was by far their most popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the past ones haven't done well, right?
I just looked at floor price.
Some sold for like 10
all
ETH.
of them were, I think, sub 1.
Yeah, there was a big,
and then,
it's come quite far down.
Oh yeah, it has, but it pumped for a while, and it's,
yeah.
I mean, they're interesting. They caught my eye for sure, and definitely a lot of excitement when they were released, and they pumped quite hard for 6 hours, 12 hours, reminiscent of the old AB days.
I don't know if you saw. I think it was Scopy tweeted about it quite a lot. I think he bought a bunch actually. he went a little bit nuts on the drop.
I think it's hard to on these. Like the mint price was low, but like I think early flipping was expensive.
Wasn't the mint price like 0.15?
Yeah, but you had to have the pass, I think.
Yeah, and the pass pumped hard.
Yeah,
when this came out, it went from like 1 ETH to like 3.4 in the span of like 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like them. They kind of have an archetype vibe to them a bit, a little more dimensions.
Stay home inside palettes.
Someone in chat said that Mind the Gap is nicer in their opinion, so it must be one of the other projects.
There's Mind the Gap. There's a couple of them, but like I think Mind the Gap also pumped really hard, and then it's pumped quite far down.
Plasticity is great.
It's really hard with these alternative platforms if they can't generate. Like there's just like I know people criticize art blocks for having just so much mint, but it's become the de facto ETH generative art platform, right? And so it's where people go look for it. It's where the kind of tastes are set. It's kind of where everyone in the generative art community talks about and talks on the Discord. And so
Mind the Gap
it's
looks
hard.
like Fidenzas.
Yeah, they're cool.
Very similar to Fidenzas. Well, not so much that one, but just looking at them all together.
They got the same flow field look to them. But I think
it's interesting.
But again, I think it's hard because if you look, because there's a number of there's like the Gen Art platform, which I think is starting to get some traction, but again, you don't hear too much from them. And then you have like Flamingo has their releases once in a while, but you never hear anything about them anymore, even though there's some really nice pieces on there, and by great artists too as well. And Horses Jam Down, right? Like I think it's just you need that both. You need both that kind of artist recognition, plus you need the platform recognition. You need to bring those kind of middle people who aren't going to do tons of research, but they want to buy some gen art. Then those people are always getting funneled into art blocks. That's where they start. That's where they learn what it is, and they don't take risks on other ones as much.
Someone was telling me that for this project, they don't take into account the artist's name or a reputation or background. They just curate it anonymously when they get their applications. Is that you guys hear
cool.
that?
No,
I can't remember who told me that, but not confirmed. Someone told me that yesterday.
That's an interesting concept, actually, for an Ethereum-based generative platform. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's a different approach than Art Blocks, where Art Blocks is coming out and saying, look, this is who we think is important, and you can only get one curated piece, but you still get a chance to do the other platforms later. So it just makes it's kind of ironic because Art Blocks, I think,
that reminds me of Bansi. If you're fans of Bansi, he once submitted a piece of art to an exhibition anonymously, and he got rejected. And then he resubmitted exactly the same thing with his name, and obviously it was this big thing. Oh, Banksy has submitted, blah blah blah.
Hilarious. Yeah. Well, it's like the experiments they do where they give you 2 bottles of wine and they're the same, and they tell you one costs $1,000 and one costs $10, and everyone, not only do they say that the $1,000 one tastes better, they've done functional MRI studies, and your brain actually is enjoying it more. So it's almost like a real thing. And so, yeah, the whole thing's weird. So the idea that they're curating this anonymously is interesting. Now, I don't exactly know how that would work. I mean, I guess the people taking the application obviously see the artist's name, but I think what they're saying is they present the art to the curation board, and they don't know anything about the artist.
Yeah.
Now, if they are connected, you suspect they would have an idea. They must have an idea of some of the kind of like the Rails project.
Yeah. You must know after they prove it who the guy is or a girl. to I think just even, you have to make sure, like for some of these things, you have to make sure that people aren't just copy minting. Like, did you see there was this recent one, Oreo DAO or Oreo something, and there was this called Venata, like what Windows, I think it's like Windows in Spanish, is that the right word?
That was a scam though, right?
A pure scam. Yeah. The guy, whoever it was like just some frames they put, and then in the middle of the frames, they just put all this art, and it was just ripped. The art was just ripped from like pretty famous collections, like a bunch of art block stuff, a bunch of Fxhash stuff, like stuff
a few Instagram pieces too.
Instagram pieces, work in progress stuff. You could look. It was really weird because you could browse through kind of the collection, and like immediately notice certain pieces. Like, I actually know this. You know what I mean? Like it was not even well hidden. They didn't distort it or change anything at all. Literally just like copied it and put it behind the window. It was bizarre, but it sold a lot. I think it's down to like 0.04, 0.03. Like, it's kind of died, but they sold initially. They sold a lot. Like, they made a lot of money.
Yeah.
They were like one of the top collections.
When it comes to distribution, I wanted to bring it up earlier. Like, it's worth mentioning what Matt Kane is doing now with the fake Pepe. Yeah. So obviously Matt Kane has done art blocks. It's the only editions that he has really done, and that's different because it's gen art. But now with the fake Pepe, which is an edition of 300, he basically put like 69 of them at a fairly high price, because fake Pepes, they don't sell for much more than 0.2, 0.6. But he put the price at 1 Bitcoin. But the great majority of the supply is almost like proof of effort. No, you need to do something that relates to the piece of art to have an option to get it, which is quite interesting. So rather than having to pay, you need to show a true interest on the piece.
Right. Did you get one? No one? I saw you tweeted about one.
I think so. I don't know. It's not confirmed. I talked to Matt. He said, "Oh, yeah, it looks like you're getting one because of the version I did of the Pepe." But we will see. I don't know. Yeah. I haven't got it on my wallet. But I mean, I don't mind. I just did it because I find the piece fascinating. If you watch the video, it's really interesting if you are into Pepes and if you like Matt Kane. So I just did it for fun. I was there for 3 hours trying to get it right, and then I sent it to him first. It's a little bit like when I did the one for the grifters. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, that one was good, and you won, right?
Yeah, I got one grifter because of that. But yeah, no, the distribution that Matt is implementing there is quite interesting. The more interesting part is that it hasn't sold yet, none of them.
Well, 1 Bitcoin's a lot, and not that many. The market's pretty limited because people don't know how to go on there and buy them in the first place, right?
True. It's a dispenser, so you need to understand how counterparty works.
Remind me what your grifter meme was. I forget what it was. I remember it was hilarious.
It was the one that they had like 4156 on the top, and it was all the grifters with the nouns glasses. So it was like a members club in which they had like 4156, like the overlord there, and they were all wearing the noun glasses.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how Fxhash curates. Like, do you have to apply, and is it pretty strict, or are they pretty open about letting a lot of people have projects?
Anyone.
So Fxhash is basically it's fully inclusive, meaning that anyone that makes code-based art can upload their code to Fxhash through the generators on there, and basically mint their algorithm, and then we can mint the outputs and things like that. There's Tender Art, which does collaborations with artists, and that's a bit more curated, and they have like tender passes and things like that, and they're doing a pretty great job. Their Discord is a lot of great art discussions in there, but basically anyone can get on Fxhash and mint a piece on there, basically, if it's code based.
As I was going to say earlier, it's kind of ironic that now it's almost like Artblocks is the boomer platform, and they're sort of like the gallerists of the Web3 space, and all these newer platforms are a little bit more free and open to everyone. It's kind of funny.
That's kind of like the two heads butting together, because there's a curated aspect to AB, and AB puts out a lot of amazing curated works. But on Fxhash, I would say it's a lot more community curated based. So, the community basically comes together and decides like, hey, this piece is wild. We should be buying it right now. We should be, diamond handing it, or whatever the community wants to do. Or, they basically are just 24/7, mainly in the PD chat for price discussion. But that's it's kind of funny that that's where all the chats happen, on the Fxhash Discord primarily. But everyone's always talking about what pieces are coming up, when to mint, like what everyone's going for, like what people think is gonna maintain value, what's a beta grail, what's not a beta grail, those kind of things. So it's pretty community oriented. I spent a lot of time on that PD chat, just always like throwing out like my thoughts and things like that.
I was looking at some wallets yesterday, and I happened to be looking at Von Missy's wallet, and we're going to have him on the show maybe next week, so we can talk to him about it then. But if you ever want to feel humbled in this space, if you think you've done well and made some money, just go to his OpenSea site, or whichever site you want to use to look at his volume, and just push sales, and just scroll through the months, and go to August, July, September. I mean, it's mind blowing how much money that guy has realized. He just sells like squiggle, punk, Fidenza, ringer, squiggle, Fidenza. It's crazy.
Even more humbling if you go and check Dave's.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that he sold as much though, because I thought he was more of a holder.
Yeah, because he had at some point he had like 93 punks, right? So I think he has like 70 something left. But then on Artblocks, he still has 7 of everything from Series 1 curated.
Wow.
7 of everything.
That's amazing, but I'm talking about more just looking at sales, because a lot of people don't sell.
But that's after selling.
But he sold quite a bit, is what you're saying, and that's what he has left.
Yeah. I see Vaughn sold a Melissa that was from the curated set. I'm a big fan of that Melissa Artblocks curated.
Fedfa?
Yep. Really, really love that one.
It's really good. I need to get one. They're pretty nice.
Just the sheer amount of work to list all this stuff would take hours each day.
I might try to affirmations for one.
Imagine Keyboard Monkey.
Yeah,
he's just goes up and down in cycles all the time now. It's pretty funny. So fast.
He buys 100 one day and sells 200 next day. So.
I know Von Missy sold, I think it was like a bold hyper rainbow for like $1 million or something. I forget when that was.
Wow.
But do you remember when Keyboard sold the zombie?
Yeah, he made $1 million
in one day.
But then it went up at like $2 more million a week later or something.
Probably not too bad sad about it now though. It's crazy to see like the punks prices, right? Like the apes. You see that little screenshot where it's like the 3 apes all selling for 2,500, 10 million, 2 million, 7 million.
Yeah, that is crazy. Well, did you see my tweet about the guy? So he basically sold. That's right. He sold 4156 for 2,600 something ETH right after buying a different ape for 2,500 ETH. So he basically replaced his ape with an equally cool, if not cooler ape, and had 7 million plus in tax harvest and made 161 ETH. Like what kind of, that's a crazy trade.
Hopefully he made $7 million to harvest.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's someone like people are so funny. Like most people just liked and retweeted it and got it, but a few people responded like, "You have no idea of this person's tax situation." And I'm like, I didn't say I did. I'm just saying, like, shut the fuck up. Like, my point is, he's still harvesting $7 million, assuming he has gains. And if he made that trade, he probably did have some gains. So fuck you. Yeah, even if he didn't.
Did you see the Bored Apes guy today?
What happened?
He minted an ENS domain.
Oh yeah, the ENS thing. That was
yeah.
So basically, yeah, I'll explain it. So he had an ENS domain, and he put a bid on his own domain from another account, his account, for 100 ETH as a practical joke. And then someone came along and bid like, I don't know, 2 ETH. And he accepted it, but he forgot to cancel his other bid. So as soon as that guy got it, he then accepted Franklin's bid from his other wallet and took 100 ETH from him.
It's funny because the ENS is named. It was a joke from the beginning. It's like it's named like "Stop bidding on these stupid things." You know, it's like because he was making fun of these people who make these kind of fake bids on ENSs. Like obviously the Amazon bid was fake, and so like. He was kind of like the name of the ENS is like "Stop making fake bids" or something like that. Like, the whole thing is so fake.
Interestingly, my only interaction with him was I was looking to buy an ape. So I went and I was checking at LuxRare, and there was this ape which was listed like 40 Ethereum below floor. So I checked that I could buy it if I wanted to, and it was his. So I contacted him on Twitter. I told him, mate, like, what are you doing? And it was, if you remember, there was a problem with the listings because of Rari, I think it was. One of the changes was bringing up the old listings on that wallet. So he managed to put it down and he saved the ape. But if not, he would have lost that ape as well.
So you saved him like a bunch of money, huh?
Yeah, 40 ETH at least. I mean, it was 40 ETH below the floor.
Did he give you anything for your trouble?
No. I mean, I just let him. I just let him know. Like, come
He's
on, man.
He's a funny guy on Twitter.
His trades are hilarious. He'll be like, I bought a Bored Ape for 100 ETH. An hour later, I sold it for 101 ETH. I made 1 ETH in 1 hour.
He's been doing that for like a year. I love those tweets. I always like laugh out loud at them.
They're so funny. I know. At first, I didn't realize he was joking. I was like, this guy's hilarious.
It's like,
he actually does.
It's always like 0.832 ETH. Like he always makes this like, it's always the decimal.
Yeah.
But the guy has 50 apes, right?
Yeah, right. That's the thing. Like this 100 ETH that he lost, that does suck. But like, honestly, in the last 3 months, I wonder if holding those 52 apes, how many ETH is lost.
I don't think he sold any of them, and I don't think he stabled up, and I don't think he sold any of his ape coins. So yeah, he's probably hating life for that. He seems to be having fun.
Probably 100 ETH is probably the least of his worries. He's like
exactly.
It's like
he's
one of those things where you're like, dollars. Yeah, everything's gone wrong, and then like this happens to you, like, oh, okay, I need a break. It's that last bit of camera. Straw to beat the camera.
Oh yeah, that's too funny. It's like
there's people give him a hard time for losing these. Like I'm pretty sure this guy knows how to lose money. Like, he's been in the space for the last 6 months. He's doing fine losing money all before this.
I had a meeting with my accountant today, and he was joking around with me. He's like, so how's the whole NFT thing coming now? I'm like, oh, it's going okay. It's cooled off a little bit. And he's like, so I hope you have some nice losses this year to go against some of your other gains. And I'm like, and I told him how much I'd lost so far in realized gains. He's like, what? Like, I don't understand. I thought everyone was like losing tons of money. Like, not everyone. I guess you have to
actually sell your losses. You wait till December to sell your losses.
Well, that's what I was saying. And he was saying that he wants me to do it because of the no wash trading rule. Just do it right now. But I was saying, the whole point of a non-fungible token is if you sell it, you can't just buy it right back. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
No, but with your Ethereum, in principle, swapping Ethereum for wrapped Ethereum is a taxable swap, right?
He told me you don't even have to do that. He said there's no rule against wash trading, so you can just sell your Ethereum and buy Ethereum a second later. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I wouldn't try that in the UK.
Yeah, but this is US. This is US. But theoretically, they could do a retroactive law by the end of the year or so. you might as well just do the WE thing, and then you're pretty much covered.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know what we mean, if you have, let's say you have sold NFTs and you have 80 ETH and the cost basis is $2,500, right now you could sell all of that 80 ETH you could just wrap it. You could just turn it into wrapped ETH, wait 30 days, and then unwrap it. And so you haven't done anything really other than wrap it, but then that's a tax event. And so you get that loss. So let's say you wrapped it right now, it's $1,500 and you bought it, your cost base is $2,500. So that's $80,000 in losses that you can immediately claim towards your gains at the end of the year just by wrapping ETH and unwrapping it.
You just have to make sure not to sell that ETH that year. Otherwise, you'll just get more gain because when you buy that ETH back, your cost basis goes down, right? So eventually, you're going to get.
It gets complicated if you
obviously. Like eventually,
exactly. If you have all kinds of other trades going on, it gets complicated.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like if you're not someone who sells, I don't really sell a lot, and so you're on paper, definitely huge losses. But in terms of actually realized losses, you have to actually put these things out.
Are you still diamond handing your Eden hordes? I think
I got my set.
Nice. You getting some nice airdrops for those?
Not yet. No. I don't know what's going on with it. I haven't checked in all the
time. Okay. Instead of talking about selling, let's talk about buying. Which one is the best buy you have done recently? Have you bought anything recently that you say, "Oh, I really like that"?
No, Pink KGM.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
I bought a meme, a 6529 meme. When it was minted. Yeah, I feel like that was a good buy because it's sort of like a Genesis piece, and I already got access because I own that. I got access to mint the Alpha Centauri Kid meme. And then I actually ended up getting two because I own one of his collector's badges. So I sold one of them right away for 1 ETH, and I'm keeping the other one. But kind of getting into that whole ecosystem doesn't seem like such a bad idea. If you go to the 6529 memes, there's some different ones that you can buy. And I don't know that you would know much more than me, Noah, but I don't know if he's promised anything or if it's more like I wasn't aware of anything that was promised. I just bought it because I kind of wanted to have
it. There are no promises. It's all for fun.
Yeah.
It's just
that's what
fun.
I thought. Yeah. But there's clearly he's getting other artists involved, which is cool. And, so I kind of like that.
Yeah. There is definitely not promises, but as you can see, there are things which are fun that are happening as we move forward. But no promises. And you got the Goda Pass as well, no?
That's right. I got 2 Goda passes, and I minted the Nina Chanel. Is that right?
Yeah.
2, and they've done, price wise, they've done okay. They're below mint price, so not great. But she's a pretty big artist, and I think over time that might be a good buy because she has hinted at doing all kinds of fun, like community related stuff. So it will definitely have utility, whether that's any kind of utility we're used to or something new or different. Like she's definitely said over and over again that she wants to have fun with her community. And for example, like based on a trait you might have, she'll give you some kind of perk and she'll kind of stay active with that. So, I mean, I think the floor might be 0.4 or something for the Nina drop, but 0.38. Nina's super cool world. So I don't think it's a bad idea to pick one of those up just because, that's pretty cheap right now. And then the pass is something that never expires and gives you access to all their future drops. And so I've heard hints that Kaws, Kaws, might be one of the next artists involved. And that would be pretty exciting. And so the passes aren't cheap. They're 6.9. It's actually dropped. Well, in US dollar terms, it's about where it was when I bought it, but in ETH terms, it's a little bit lower.
There's going to be a Kaws drop as an NFT. That's pretty busting.
Not confirmed, just rumors. But that's a rumor I heard. If true, that would be pretty dope.
2 things that I've gotten recently is the Squiggle Mint.
Oh yeah,
was expensive when I bought it because it was May, so it was like more. ETH price was like 2,000 something, right? So,
Man, I got that one too. Do you know how much I had to pay for them to send me
delivery? I need to figure that out.
The infinite objects? $389.
What?
Yeah.
After spending all that money on I think they should have covered the delivery. After giving all that money on the
Couldn't you buy one from the site with your NFT for way cheaper?
No, but they still have to deliver it.
Is the shipping fees, so they will still charge me that on top if I buy with my own NFT. So the NFT, the actual infinite objects was for free, but the shipping fees $389.
Why is it so much? They're not
it's a US company,
very
right?
heavy. Like, why are they so much?
I guess they don't want them to break.
Yeah. I don't know. It was like tax was 240 or something.
Is it international? Right?
Oh, taxes. They have to wrap it in caviar apparently to keep it safe.
Yeah, it looks like it, man. And what was the other thing, Shink?
Oh, and the memories. I really liked. I bought that when it first came out. Memories of Killing.
Yeah. How many? You have one of those?
I just have one of them yet. That was nice. I almost got the second. I almost got a second one, but I really kind of. I wish I got a second, but I do like the one I have.
It's got a cool collage vibe to it too, even though it's really generative.
Yeah,
I like how when you open it up, it looks old.
Like cardboard
when
paper.
you open it up and look at it. Yeah, it looks like something
or construction paper, right? And they glued it on each. You know what I mean? Like there's layers.
Oh yeah, very nice.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
that one's pretty. I like the ones with blue or red. Yeah, that one's really cool. Yeah, pretty neat. And they've held up pretty well.
I haven't done too much buying outside of that. Just been kind of just biding my time.
Oh, Lonli, I think I didn't tell you, but I bought Where My Pants Go.
You bought a where? Oh, you got one. Wow.
Yeah,
which one did you get? Let's see it.
If you check, it's in my vault. So if you look for my punk, it's in the same wallet.
You literally bought the bottom too, didn't you?
Pretty much. Yeah. So
yeah.
Wow.
That's great. Congrats on that one. Good one.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's definitely a grail.
Yeah, that's the one.
Has he capped the supply of those? Or
it's 125. It's going to be 125 total.
And how many are there now?
124, I think. I think there might be one more coming, something like that. No, but I was looking at the floor every single day for weeks. And I was stink bidding, like 15, 16, 18, 20 Ethereum. And then all of a sudden, in 3 hours, the 3 at the floor went. And I said, okay, I need to close it now because I'm not getting anything. No, but yeah, I always wanted one. So that's the buy for me recently. I'm super happy. I'm going to put it at home.
That's a big one. Your girlfriend allowed you to buy that?
She actually loves it. She loves the story and behind Drifter. So yeah, she loved that one. That was like proper, like I just want this. Probably I am burning money. If I am burning money, it's fine because I just want this.
I don't think you're burning money.
No, I think
it's definitely with the bottom.
Yeah. I think it's definitely worth it at that where their price was at.
And then I was
closing up.
Yeah. And then I was losing my mind and I almost bought a second one, but bought it just literally before I was discussing with the fund, should we get it for the fund and so on, blah, blah, blah. And Curated went and bought it just as I was looking at it. It's a pretty good one. Look there at the activity if you can. It's the one with the green lights. I think they bought it for 50. It's like a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's a cool one.
That's wild. Those neon lights are beautiful.
Sorry, that one's better than yours, Noah.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Scully. I love you too.
It's more flashy, I would say. I don't know if it's better, but it's more flashy.
Yeah, I mean, the one I really wanted was the one in New York that he's in the scaffolding. I think that one is sick. That sold for, I think, 35 or something like that. And another one in Central Park. Has Central Park as the background. That one sold for 33.
And did you climb on one of those billionaire towers? Like on Billionaires Row? The Central Park one.
Yeah.
It's one of those billionaire towers too, right? Like, the really tall, skinny ones that are like, yeah.
That's dope. That one's really cool.
That's a really, really great picture.
That's a neat one.
Because it's such a hard to get there in the first place. It's like such an iconic location.
Yeah, if you look, there is a video on YouTube, and if you check the video, you check the pictures in the scaffolding. Scaffolding are the craziest ones. When you look, because there is in the video, it shows how he got there. It's mental. It's mental. Man.
Oh, it's insane.
It'd be hilarious if he had a drone that like had these artificial legs, like in front of it, and that's how he's taking these pictures.
Yeah.
So
cool. That's right.
I think we're going to wrap up soon. I was going to mention that I did burn my Damien Hirst currency the other day. The deadline's July 27th, so that's coming up fast. So
you're getting the physical then?
I'm getting the physical, and I went ahead and bought the frame that they sell, and that already arrived. Actually, I got that in the mail yesterday.
Yeah, put some museum glass in.
So I'm worried about. So, I have mine on my Ledger, and I remember they had issues with the Ledger before, so now I'm worried about transferring it.
I think it should be fine, eh?
I hope so. I'm going to do it, but then I hope it doesn't get stuck for like 10 days or something again.
Yeah.
Oh, right. You might be missing that off if you do it. You wait.
I think if I get stuck, I would just buy another one and transfer to a hot level store.
Yeah. I lost it a little bit because, as you know, I got my physical, the first one, like a month ago. So when I looked at it, I thought, okay, one only is like, for me at least, a little bit underwhelming. So I ended up buying another two and redeeming for physical as well. I think that the perfect set is maybe 2 or 3, depending on the wall where you want to put it.
No one, I want to do what I have in my mind is I'm going to get another NFT at some point, and I'm going to have a really cool digital frame. Like once a really good digital frame comes out, I'm going to get one.
That's a good idea.
For that. Yeah, and have it next to my real one, and like that be like a whole like statement on NFTs.
That'd be a great vibrant piece in the frame like that.
That's pretty sick, actually. Damn it! Why didn't you tell me this 1 week ago?
Well, your trip took
the currency's come down. You could probably pick it up.
Yeah,
did it say $5,000 was the last sale? That's cheap.
Yeah, USD wise is the same price more or less. So I bought Ethereum just with cash to buy them. So USD more or less is the same. It's been stable for the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's around 9,000 for the floor, but maybe you could get a bid for cheaper or something.
The crazy part is
I think they'll come down after they burn. They'll come down.
Yeah, in London, if you go and you in the galleries here, they tend to have a waiting list to buy stuff from Damien Hirst. And I went to one in London here, and they are offering 15K in pounds for the currency.
The market inefficiencies are still wild.
Major arbitrage.
They're trying to get ahead of the curve here.
We were going to have a segment every week called Grifter of the Week. But I think we might just change it to Ryan Carson Memorial Grifter of the Week.
Because someone tweeted out that he sold a bunch of those oddities for like 3, 4, 1 for a bunch.
Oh God, did he really? I didn't even see that.
Because he got it. Obviously, he got one. Right?
So he
must have known what it looked like, right? I didn't see the tweet. I just saw a tweet screenshot. I didn't see. I haven't gone to the actual research whether it was him or not. But it was like Ryan Carson Vault 2 sold some oddities before the reveal.
He bought a floor doodle for 80 ETH, which made no sense. But everyone's like, why did he buy a floor doodle for 80 ETH? And I don't know if an explanation has been offered, but it's very suspect.
Oh, for his fund?
No, I think it was. You have to find it. Pep, go to the Doodles activity. I think it was yesterday or the day before. There's not that many sales, and you'll see a sale for 80 ETH. And let's click on it and see if that's. I apologize, I didn't do all my research, but this Doodles chat I'm in was talking about it, and so I'm just curious. Like, I definitely saw the sale for 80 ETH, and it's just like a floor doodle, which makes no sense, right?
Didn't Ryan Carson recently just do a pretty big sweep on Moonbirds too? That was pretty heavily
before
contested.
Wasn't there a sweep before an announcement, right?
So if you go there, that was Oliver Garage. Is that Ryan Carson? I hope I'm not making this up. Someone told me it was. I don't know. I wish. I don't know if there's some way to track to his wallet. I don't want to be talking shit if it's not true, but that's what someone told me. maybe it was just suspicious, and then they just assumed it was Ryan Carson.
Yeah, no. Oh well, he's making money, so in the bear market at least.
But I want to look at the oddities sales a little closer too and see, because the funny thing about him is he doesn't ever seem to hide anything, or he's like the worst hider ever. Like if he's trying to hide these sales, he really doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing anything wrong per se. It's just kind of sketch. I don't know. Like it's like there's a kind of a lead from the front type attitude he doesn't seem to have. Where he's totally fine dumping on the community. Well, like, you know, he's the super most positive guy in all the podcasts. Like, community's the best.
He does a good spaces. I was in his spaces the other day. He's got a great voice and he runs it really well. Yeah. He's a smooth talker and he has good guests. So I'll give him
That's what I mean. That's why I think people don't like, right? It's like it says all the right things, and then while he's like sell.
Mid space is just listing.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like you can't even get mad because there's just so many people who do that. There's like all these hype men in the space that are the simultaneous sellers. And like, I guess that's their job, right? That's how they make their money. And it's never been like, always been like that in crypto. It's not like 5 years ago, there wasn't like the same people telling people on YouTube channels to buy this while they're dumping their bags on retail, right? So
as we're looking at those oddities sales, I saw the name Zeneca, and it reminded me of the Zeneca hack. Did you guys hear about that? His Twitter got hacked.
I thought that was wild.
Mint.
Do we know how that? He seemed to think that like he had 2FA and he has no idea how it happened. That's kind of freaky. Like I don't know if
he was saying it was an inside job by Twitter. Like what?
So crazy. That's true. What does that even mean? Yeah,
so that is scary because flashbacks to 0 day.
The Bored Ape account mentioned that there's going to be a lot of coordinated attacks soon, and that I don't know if that was maybe one of them. And just got to be careful out there.
Like, people are always like, oh, it's like you gotta, the hacks, watch out for this. These kind of like these malicious actors, and like I don't really like. They don't even do like I know they're malicious, but like they don't even do. They have sophisticated things. All they do is like get some account, and they say, go to this random site and interact with this contract, and like you get all your stuff stolen. You're like, what? I don't understand why it's still so easy to like. It's not like these hackers are doing something sophisticated and deep, right? It's not like they like they phish the one account and then they're not like each individual new account. They have to like do some additional phishing kind of thing. It's not like it's literally just like if you can hack someone, put a link up there, you can easily find 10,000 people who will just give you everything just to have access to this link for some reason. It is absurd to me how poor people's judgment is when they go online. I don't really understand.
It's
one day our iguana should do like a section on wallet security or something, because people get very confused. They think that because they have a hardware wallet, it's a cold wallet, but it doesn't work like that. Yeah. I am security
Yeah, if you sign stuff or if you interact with the contract,
it's not cold anymore.
You're still pressing the buttons. Like that's the whole point of the ledger. It was supposed to tell you, that it forces you to press buttons to sign. So you can't like steal someone's browser and do it on their computer without them knowing, right?
Yeah.
But like if you press the buttons, there's nothing cool about that.
So for example, my Ethereum or the NFTs that I am pretty sure I'm going to keep long term, they are on a hardware wallet which is never connected to MetaMask or anything. It never signs anything. It only goes through the Tezos suite, and that's it. And that's what you should be doing. And then you're not signing anything. So but Iguana should do that.
How do you handle the one problem with that is that airdrops and the Discord channels and all that crap. If your NFTs are on a super cold wallet, you can't ever partake in that, right?
If you know that there is going to be a drop, you can always send the NFT to a cold wallet for the drop and then send it back, right? And you don't need to connect through MetaMask or anything. You send it through the Tezos
Right.
or through.
Well, sometimes they make you mint and sign something to prove that you have the thing. It's because I think sometimes these airdrops are just either kind of lazy or they push the costs of gas onto the individual, and so then it lowers people's security.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true
That's the only
airdrop
thing. And
would
then
be
some of
nicer
these-
where they just send it to you, right? And you don't have to do any
Yeah.
interaction. If they just send it to your wallet, that would be better. Like, didn't Azuki's do that?
Azuki's and also Akutars were pure airdrops.
Yeah.
I think that's a smart way to do it. It's
Oh,
expensive.
you reminded me of
but
Akutars. What's the floor of Akutars?
0.9, 0.88, something.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad. It's just been flat for a while. They got bumped. They were on the cover of Time. There's like a metaverse
really?
episode. There was a metaverse issue, and they're like prominently on the front. I don't know if you can find that. It's like the
I didn't know that.
Time.
I don't read Time magazine these days.
Why? Obviously, I don't either. I saw the Twitter.
Were you at the dentist?
Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, like the Time guys are big. They're Time guys. Like, what's that? Keith, whatever his name is, Grassman or something, or Grossman. Is that him?
Oh, nice.
They're big on NFTs, right? They have been for a while. They were like pushed on the Cool Cat stuff a lot. They have, isn't that like, they've had the Time. They have the Time thing, whatever they're called, the timepieces, the collabs they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that Akutars, but this is why I'm like pretty solid on them. Like I feel like just in terms of like we're in a bear market, so like I think if you have trouble convincing NFT natives right now about what's going on, especially Akutars who don't really, like Aku in general doesn't really talk to the NFT space that much. They're really focused outwards. Of course, they're going to be not do as well, right? Because they're going to feel it's going to seem like, oh, they got quiet. But I do still think that they're one of the better projects that are more outwardly facing towards like actually building their brand outside of the NFT space. So we think it's going to grow. The NFT space is going to grow into mainstream at some point, and they're one of the few that are kind of positioned well for that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think when there's another kind of second coming of new entrants to the market, whenever that's going to be, that they'll be positioned really well.
Yeah,
It just might take. It might take a while.
Yeah, and like it's just easy because the NFT space is still so small, and so like if certain people aren't talking about them all the time, then you're just not going to see people buying. And most NFT traders are not very good, so they're only buying momentum anyways. And so if there's no momentum, that stuff just flounders for a while.
Well, all right, boys. Anything else you want to talk about today? That was a good one. I think we went well over an hour, which is good. It's great to have No One and Lonli on. No One, the second appearance.
Yeah, it was great.
Lonli, it's great to talk to you.
It was amazing to talk with everyone. It was really fun.
Well, you're welcome back anytime, and it's fun. The next week we might have another special guest. We'll see, but it's fun to have new people on and kind of get their perspective on things. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I would definitely love to join again.
All right, guys. Well, have a good one.
All right. See ya.